Welcome, everyone. We are gathered here today to embark on a spiritual journey, one that will take us back to the very foundations of our faith. Today, we will explore the Ten Commandments given by God, a set of divine laws that have guided humanity for millennia. These commandments hold immense significance, not just as religious edicts, but as moral principles that can shape our daily lives and interactions with others. The Ten Commandments are found in the Bible, in the book of Exodus, chapter 20. This chapter is a cornerstone of biblical teaching, offering us a direct line to God's expectations for his people. Let's delve into each commandment and understand what God asks of us. Each commandment is a beacon of light, guiding us towards a life that is pleasing to God and beneficial to our community. In Exodus 20, verses 1 to 17, God speaks to Moses on Mount Sinai and gives him the Ten Commandments. This moment is not just a historical event, but a divine encounter that has shaped the moral fabric of societies around the world. These commandments serve as fundamental principles for living a life pleasing to God. They are not mere suggestions, but divine imperatives that call us to a higher standard of living. Exodus chapter 20, verse 3, "You shall have no other gods before me." This commandment is a call to monotheism, urging us to recognize and worship only the one true God. This commandment calls us to worship only the one true God and to put him first in our lives. It challenges us to examine our priorities and ensure that nothing takes precedence over our relationship with God. To follow this, we must avoid idolatry and dedicate our hearts solely to God. Idolatry can take many forms, from material possessions to personal ambitions, and we must be vigilant in keeping our devotion pure. Exodus chapter 20, verses 4 to 5. "You shall not make for yourself an image in the form of anything in heaven, above or on the earth, beneath or in the waters below. You shall not bow down to them or worship them." This commandment warns against the creation and worship of idols, emphasizing the importance of spiritual worship over physical representations. God commands us to avoid creating and worshiping idols. In a world filled with distractions, this commandment calls us to focus on the spiritual essence of our faith rather than its physical symbols. We can follow this by focusing on God's spiritual nature rather than physical representations. This means cultivating a deep personal relationship with God that transcends any material form. Exodus chapter 20, verse 7. "You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God." This commandment calls for reverence and respect for God's name, recognizing its sacredness. We must respect and honor God's name, avoiding any use of it in a disrespectful or deceitful manner. This includes avoiding casual or flippant use of God's name in our speech and actions. Exodus chapter 20, verses 8 to 11, "Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy." The Sabbath is a gift from God, a day set aside for rest and spiritual rejuvenation. God instructs us to set aside one day each week for rest and worship. This commandment reminds us of the importance of balance in our lives, encouraging us to take time to rest and reconnect with God. Following this commandment involves dedicating time to rest, reflect, and connect with God. It is an opportunity to step back from the busyness of life and focus on what truly matters. Exodus chapter 20, verse 12. "Honor your father and your mother." This commandment underscores the importance of family and the respect for parental authority. We are called to respect and care for our parents. This respect extends beyond mere obedience. It involves honoring their wisdom, caring for them in their old age, and valuing their role in our lives. This commandment emphasizes the importance of family and the respect for authority. It calls us to foster strong, loving relationships within our families, which serve as the foundation for a stable and harmonious society. So, Exodus chapter 20, verse 13, "You shall not murder." This commandment is a clear directive to value and protect human life. God values life, and we are instructed to respect and protect it. This commandment calls us to uphold the sanctity of life in all its forms, from the unborn to the elderly. Following this commandment means cherishing life and resolving conflicts peacefully. It challenges us to seek nonviolent solutions to our disputes and to promote a culture of peace and respect. Exodus chapter 20, verse 14, "You shall not commit adultery." This commandment underscores the importance of faithfulness in marriage and the sanctity of the marital bond. Faithfulness in marriage is crucial. This commandment calls us to honor our commitments and to maintain the integrity of our relationships. We are called to honor our relationships and maintain purity in our thoughts and actions. This involves not only physical faithfulness, but also emotional and mental fidelity. Exodus chapter 20, verse 15, you shall not steal. This commandment emphasizes the importance of respecting the property and rights of others. Respecting the property of others is essential. This commandment calls us to act with integrity and honesty in all our dealings, ensuring that we do not take what does not belong to us. We follow this commandment by being honest and trustworthy in all our dealings. This includes not only refraining from theft, but also being fair and just in our business practices and personal interactions. Exodus chapter 20, verse 16, you shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. Truthfulness is vital. This commandment calls us to uphold the truth in all our words and actions. We must speak the truth and avoid lying or deceiving others. This involves being honest in our communications and ensuring that our words reflect the reality of our intentions and actions. So, Exodus chapter 20, verse 17, you shall not covet. This commandment addresses the inner attitudes of our hearts, calling us to be content with what we have. God calls us to be content with what we have and not to desire what belongs to others. This commandment challenges us to cultivate a spirit of gratitude and to avoid the destructive effects of envy and jealousy. Following this commandment involves cultivating gratitude and avoiding jealousy. It encourages us to focus on the blessings we have received and to trust in God's provision for our needs. The Ten Commandments are timeless principles given by God to guide us in living a righteous and fulfilling life. They are not just ancient laws, but living truths that continue to speak to us today. By understanding and following these commandments, we can strengthen our relationship with God and with others. They provide a framework for building a just and compassionate society. Let us strive to live according to these divine instructions, honoring God in all that we do. In doing so, we not only fulfill our spiritual obligations, but also contribute to a world that reflects God's love and justice.